I was 24 years old when I moved into my first rental house. A small 2-bedroom home in a quiet Minnesota neighborhood. It was cheap. A little too cheap, if I'm honest. The landlord told me it had been empty for almost 4 years. The house had a basement, of course, unfinished, dimly lit, with only one rusty pull chain bulb over the stairwell. There was a furnace in the back corner, a washer-dryer combo to the left, and a weird wooden panel wall that didn't match the rest. About a week after moving in, I heard scratching coming from the basement late at night. At first, I figured it was mice, or maybe squirrels nesting in the walls. But the sound kept happening, always around 2:30 in the morning. It was rhythmic, deliberate, almost like someone trying to get my attention. One night I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and went down there with my dog, Nico. He's a big Labrador, always confident, but that night, he stopped halfway down the stairs. His ears were pinned back, and he refused to move. Then he growled. A deep, guttural growl I had never heard from him before. The scratching was louder now. It was coming from behind the wooden panel wall. I thought it might be loose boards or vermin, until I saw something that made my stomach turn. A faint outline of a door. It had been boarded over and painted to blend in. Curiosity got the better of me. I pried the boards loose. Behind the wall was a crawl space. It was pitch black and filled with a rotting metallic smell. My flashlight barely cut through the darkness. That's when I saw them. Child-sized handprints, all over the inside walls. Some of them had dried brown smears trailing beneath. I called the landlord immediately. His voice went cold when I mentioned the crawl space. He said, "That area is not supposed to be accessible. I sealed it myself." Then he hung up. I moved out the same week. 2 months later, I found a local news article. In 1996, the house had belonged to a foster family. 3 kids disappeared under the care. The case was never solved. This happened to my older sister in 2019 in rural Oklahoma during tornado season. Her farmhouse had a basement storm shelter, a concrete room with a steel hatch and no windows. She was home alone one night when sirens started going off. A massive storm was coming. She grabbed her flashlight, phone, and emergency bag and went down into the shelter as the rain slammed the house. The basement had no lights except for a small battery lamp, so it always felt suffocating. When she closed the hatch, the wind howled outside, but everything inside was dead quiet. She waited. Then something changed. She heard breathing, not hers. Slow, shallow. In the far corner of the shelter. She pointed her flashlight, but it only lit up empty shelves. She called out, "Hello?" Nothing. She held her breath. The breathing continued. She moved toward the sound, shining her light, and saw something crouched behind the shelves. At first she thought it was a raccoon, until it stood up. It was pale, thin, and impossibly tall. No hair. Its arms were twice the length of its legs. It blinked at the light, then whispered, "Don't tell them I'm here." She ran, bolted up the stairs, threw the hatch open, sprinted into the storm without a second thought. She didn't stop until she reached the neighbor's house a quarter mile down the road. When police arrived, they searched the storm shelter. They found nothing. No signs of entry, no footprints. Nothing. Except for a single word scratched into the concrete wall in the corner. Stay. In 2005, I was hired to clean out an old apartment building's basement before it was demolished. The landlord told me it had been a fallout shelter during the Cold War, and that most of the rooms were just storage units now. It was a 3-day job, dusty, dark, and full of cobwebs. Most of the basement rooms were padlocked, except for one at the end of the hallway. Room 13. The door was unlocked, but wedged shut. When I finally forced it open, the smell hit me. Musty, rotted, and something else. Something sweet. The room had a small mattress, a bucket, and children's books. Nothing else. No windows, no light bulb. Just a single chair facing the back wall. And that's when I saw it, carved into the concrete wall behind the chair. Rows and rows of tally marks. Hundreds of them. I backed out, tried to shake it off as some old squatter set up. But I couldn't stop thinking about those marks. How many days or victims did they represent? That night I dreamed about the room. In the dream I was trapped inside, and a figure stood in the doorway whispering, "One more mark." I didn't go back the next day. I called in sick. But my boss told me I had to finish the job. When I returned, room 13 was wide open, and someone had added a new tally mark. Fresh, clean, right at the bottom. The total was now 666. I quit that day. The building was demolished a month later, but I still dream of room 13. And sometimes I hear someone scratching a wall in the middle of the night.